My name is Helen, also known as Hell's Bells, and this is the channel where we put the human and humanist one cozy chat at a time. And my guest this week is just a really wonderful human being that I'm glad that I get to call him amongst my friends. This is Martin Roberts. So everybody say hi to Martin.
Hey
Hello.
everyone.
Welcome to my channel.
I love it.
Welcome.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say in that intro, because I apologize, I have actually not viewed a show yet, and I feel so bad about that. So now that I'm on one,
now you can't be part of the show anymore. I'm gonna kick you out.
oh, okay, fine. No, now I am compelled to watch them going forward. But no, I really like that intro, putting the human back in humanist. That's amazing, and happy to be here.
Oh yeah, thank you. Oh, Kyle's here. Hi, Kyle.
Hey, what's up, Kyle?
Hello. I do have the best. I know you're not late this week. I'm very impressed. Good for you.
Oh yeah, let me pull up the live chat here. Whoops. One sec. Where are we?
I'm going to stream on the side.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. There I am.
There you are.
All right, and mute that stream so I'm not talking over myself.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I have the YouTube chat open to just to see how many people are watching and stuff, and but I have to mute myself, otherwise I'll hear an echo of myself.
Right.
Like
yeah,
like a 5-second delay.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's
usually just wave at the chat.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's funny because so I started, for those who don't know, I started with the ACA as a volunteer. That's kind of how I got to be involved in the atheist community. I haven't really been that involved per se the last couple years, but anyway, where I was going with that though is I picked up a lot of phone skills and learning about call, like time delay and all of that. And lo and behold, right after I finished my volunteer work as being a call screener, I went on into phone sales. So those skills
funny.
definitely got me a boost up there into the field that I then pursued and I wasn't in before. So, Kyle, it's great to be live. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, it's nice. So I'm so glad that you decided to come on, though. That's awesome.
I don't care if it's only one person in any live chat who recognizes me. I'm like, you know what I mean?
It just strokes your ego just enough.
Just enough. Because other than that, who the heck am I? Some guy from upstate New York.
Right. Exactly. So for the people, why don't you tell, other than the fact that you are from the ACA, who you are? I know you're getting back involved in atheist activism, so, and why you wanted to talk about this particular topic. So give us the buffer.
Okay. Yeah. So first off, I think the topic I told you was finding like peace or solace in these times or something like that, right?
Finding peace in hostile times. That was the title you gave me.
I wish I was eloquent as I was that day. Finding peace in hostile times. Yeah, it's something that's very important and something that I've been actively working on, not just with myself, but my partner, my husband Matthew, has been as well. And so launching off of that topic into kind of the times that we're in, I did want to speak briefly about that. You know, the last thing I ever want to do is come off as alarmist. Hey, Dan from Canada. Or anything like that, but we are in unprecedented times, and I think it's very appropriate to move slowly, watch carefully, and don't make any sudden movements lest the velociraptors see you. So
exactly, that's how we know.
Yeah, that's how I feel. You correct me if I'm wrong. You're still in Florida as well, right?
Yes, I'm in Santa's asshole, so
Yeah.
But because I bought a house and I'm kind of stuck.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, thankfully we do not own property here. It's just us and 2 cats and a bunch of rentals. So we'll eventually find our way out of here. But no, where I was going with that though is finding peace, really giving not just grace to yourself, but grace to others so that they can find peace too, because you don't just need it for yourself. We need it right now as a community. And I think that as a actively hated minority, atheists, are really non-believers of any flavor. Even Unitarians, Jews, Muslims, we need to stick together in the coming years. We really do. And so kind of giving others grace is part of how I've been finding that peace myself. I have a pretty fiery personality. But I think that it's important to keep that focused in the right direction. Right.
Yes.
So a little bit more about myself. Since the last time I appeared on any YouTube production relating to atheism or anything else. Hey, what's up, MS Non Sequitur? Or is that Ms. Non Sequitur? I'm not sure. Either way, hello. And so,
hello.
So I met the love
This is
of my
Non
life.
Sequitur's first time here, unless they were just they were just watching before and not engaging in the chat. So
Say that again. I'm sorry.
This is Non Sequitur's first time here, unless because this is the first time I see them in the chat, and this is my 6th show. So
awesome. Welcome. That's great. Welcome, Jeremiah. So I met the love of my life almost exactly. Well, I'd say a little over a year ago now, and we hit it off really quickly, and circumstances led to him moving in with me within about 2 weeks of us dating. And
that's what I moved in with my husband 2 weeks after we met. So
funny how that works.
I wouldn't recommend most people do that. It just worked out, but because usually I'm like I feel like that was like. I got lucky that it worked out.
And we really did too. Really did too. It was, it's funny because we talked about it, and it's something that neither of us would have done in a million years with anybody else in any other circumstance. And it wasn't even.
No way. Like
there were other solutions that could have been pursued, but we were just like, you know what? Let's do it. So we did it, and here we are. And he's sitting slightly out of frame behind me on the bed with at least one cat, maybe both. Reading
one cat behind the green screen taking a nap on the bed, and then the other two are in with hi Angie. The other two in the other room. So with husband. So but I'm like it's like we're gonna get to the topic, but I'm very grateful to have someone that's very supportive. Like he's writing me a theme song that I'm gonna implement into the channel eventually. Yeah. It's really nice because he doesn't do any atheist activism, but he's very supportive of what I do. And it's just nice to have some, and also like, I kind of don't want him to, because it's not because I don't think he'd be good at it. It's just because I need a reprieve from.
It's good to be able to go home and unplug from what you're doing.
Like I want to watch horror movies with you, and not talk about the fucked upness that I deal with online.
Yeah. I do want to put a bookmark in that because I'd love to hear about what you've been up to lately in that world. But just a little bit more about me. So I live in South Florida. I'm from upstate New York. I spent almost a decade in the Southwest. Sadly, did not make it to Austin during any of that time. I found the ACA during COVID. And then that's how I came to meet Helen. And we've just kept in touch, just through adjacency ever since. She's a absolutely delightful individual. I always love hearing your thoughts on things. And, sad that we live on different sides of Florida. Otherwise, I'm sure we would have met up for lunch or something by now. But
if you come to Free Flow, you can hang out with all the cool people.
Right. When is it again?
It's March 14th to the 16th.
Tempting. Oh, that's my grandma's 100th birthday.
Okay, screw your grandma.
We'll bring grandma. That'll go well.
Grandma will love if we go show up for her 100th birthday.
Yeah.
Well, you can come next year. We'll make something happen. Like we can always meet somewhere. We can always meet somewhere on Alligator Alley and maybe make it at the Skunk Gate Museum.
We'll figure something out. For sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. I believe you said your name, Miss Non Sequitur. Thank you, Miss Non Sequitur. Yeah, it's 100 is amazing. And I don't think anybody's told her that she's actually gotten old yet, because she doesn't seem to have gotten old yet, except for physically. But mentally, she's Grandma's still got it. So
my mom's 92 and she's still like, her short-term memory isn't as great, but her long-term is, and she's like, she will still whip your ass at Scrabble.
Yep. My grandma's the same way.
Whip my butt.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's because she learned English as a second language, like, because she's French.
Okay.
And I blame the fact that she learned English and as a second language. So she's learned Spanish. So she's fluent in 3 languages, and I'm only fluent in 2, English and sarcasm. So, you know.
There you go.
Hi, Clyde.
Hi, Clyde. So yeah, I guess a little bit more about me. I used to manage a restaurant. Before that, I worked at Starbucks, studied to be a teacher originally. And then I sold cars for a while, and now I sell Medicare Advantage plans over the phone. And so, yeah, I talk for a living. I've always talked. That's just what I do. Easiest way to describe it. I just get paid to talk about different things.
You get paid to talk about things. Like, I just talk about things for free. Though I do work at I work at a healthcare company, home health. So
you do? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I do. I match caregivers with clients. So and it's a lot of personality and psychology. And also I'm a therapist, so a lot of our clients, because they'll call and I have to also be therapist.
Right.
Which is fine. Right. But yeah, but I talk for a living. And I talk online. I am very good at talking and using words.
Hey, I saw the run times of the other shows, and I was like, oh man, I have some serious competition here as far as how long one can go on. I'm just kidding.
Well, like I cap it. If you want to stop at an hour and a half, it's fine. But like if the conversation's going, and I'll just keep talking.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried.
The only reason why I cut Greg off on Thursday was because, like, I have to go to bed. It was a Thursday.
Thankfully, one of the things I love about my my current industry is that I get weekends off. During annual
I love having weekends.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's a blessing. Yeah, I had to work weekends during annual enrollment, but that's it. Just October through December, 7 weeks in total. So,
that's nothing.
Weekends off after that. I've never had it before in my life. I've always worked weekends in retail, food service, etc. So
that's what happens when you get a big people job.
Right? Oh my gosh. It's so strange. I'm like, wait, am I adulting now? Is this how this is working? Hey, what's up, Jake?
So why did you so I know you went into a little bit about the topic. So you were saying that going forward, especially because things are going to suck.
Yeah.
Why do we need to focus not only on community, but trying to find that peace, that we're not constantly in like panic and also like activism mode at like all the time?
Yeah, it's important to just take a step back and unplug and take care of yourself, because this year I've had mental health, I don't want to say issues, but spikes, I guess, of issues like I haven't before. And I've also dealt with shit that I've never dealt with before. Both, just dealing with, I won't say married life, but the challenges that come with merging 2 lives. And then on top of that, the fucking Trump administration coming in, and, the wrecking ball of disaster that's about to strike our government. And we're going to see how long it lasts. And how much of it crumbles is kind of how I feel a lot of the time. And so it's important to take time and get away from all of that. So I've forced myself to, first I unplugged from Facebook for an entire month. And then I forced myself to only go on it early in the morning and late at night. I don't have notifications on, and I don't follow any groups that repost negative politics, or not negative politics, but conservative politics, like the, hey, look at this content. hey, look at this awful church group and what it's reposting and all of that. And it's important to raise activism about what your enemy is doing. But if you're just, if my feed is just full of conservative content being reposted as like, oh my gosh, this is awful, then I'm just reading conservative content and spiraling down into despair.
Right.
And so I pulled off.
You don't need to add to the spiral down. Exactly. You don't need to add to.
I can just watch Hassan like any other leftist and cry in the bathroom. No, I'm just kidding.
Right, exactly.
But no, in all seriousness though, getting away from, YouTube politics shows as well. Like I've forced myself to either watch movies or new TV shows, or even watching old TV shows. Like my husband and I are watching Lost for his first time, my 10th probably, since it first came out. And just,
it was really weird.
Yeah.
I watched the first season of Lost and I watched the last episode. I had no context after the first season, and I ended up watching the last episode. And I was really high when I was watching it, so I had a moment of like, wow, this is so deep, and then you think about it for 5 seconds, like, no, this is bad.
Yeah. So I will hesitate to use to say any specific spoilers with him right behind me here. But if we want to talk about it, I can kick him out. That's no problem.
No, we don't have to talk about Lost, but I was just it's just funny because it's usually I'll watch a whole series.
Right.
It was just it was airing and I happened to watch it and I was like, I was so confused because I hadn't watched like 5 seasons. So
it's funny that you say that because they measured the demographics of the show and polling and all of that, and they found that a lot of people watched seasons 1 and 2, or in your case just 1, and then came back and watched the last episode and was like, "What the fuck just happened?"
Okay, so I don't feel so bad. I wasn't the only one.
You're not alone. In fact, that was pretty common because the following of Lost really fell off after season 3. And it's not because the show got bad, it's because the show got weird. And so if you really want to out in the hall, husband. That's funny, Dan. Yeah, no. So a lot of people kind of fell off when it got into the whole time travel and it wasn't even an alternate timeline. It was it's just a lot. And so if you aren't willing to sit down and like obsess over those details for hours to process it, it's not a.
I'm watching Arcane right now and I'm perfectly happy.
What is it?
Yeah, it's so good.
No, what is it called? I'm sorry.
I'm watching Arcane.
Arcane.
Highly recommend. If you're not watching it, shame on you. It is amazing. It is. No, I'm just. So David Teachout from Recovering from Religion, because I was seeing memes on it. Okay, sidebar. I was seeing memes on it on the internet, and I was like, okay, cool. And then David Teachout, who is a very smart person, and he kept talking about it during one of his talks for RFR. And I was like, okay, well, David's telling me it's good. I have to watch it. And I started watching it, and it's fucking amazing. Other than the weird Imagine Dragon shit that happens in the show, everything else is beautiful, and the storytelling's great, and it's queer positive. It's so good. It's so good. Oh my God.
All right. Matthew's been trying to get me to watch it. I haven't been resisting it for any specific reason other than wanting him to finish watching Lost first.
Yeah, finish watching. It sounds like it's going to go anywhere. It's going to be on Netflix for a while, and they're going to make another season, so it's not going anywhere.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. But you don't need to know anything about League of Legends to watch the show, because that was not a rabbit hole I was going to go down. It can be its own thing.
Yeah. Referencing what Clyde said in the chat real quick, doom scrolling. Yeah, very much something to try to stay away from these days, because there is no end. You cannot know everything that is going on right now. So just become aware of what's going to affect you and learn to tune out the nonsense. Looks like we got somebody new in the chat. Hey, Robin. I'm saying hi to you. I don't know if it's somebody you know.
Hi, Robin. Hi, honey.
So we got on the TV talking about centering, you're centering yourself or finding finding peace in the time of hostility. So another thing that we've done is, and alongside of watching old TV shows,
Okay, that's awesome. I think that's great.
I mean, on and off for, the last few years, I've been getting back into Lego. Mostly the, like the big pyramid set, like the stuff that's designed for adults, that's not like, it's like 2,000 pieces. It's ridiculous. But also they have really cool shit now. They have like this Audi that I got Matthew that he's been building in his free time.
Like, I love it.
It's just cool. And Lego, if you read into them, they're a really wholesome company. One of the only few multinational wholesome companies out there, to my knowledge. I mean, I'm sure there's a few, not counting like nonprofits and shit. But usually, big retail companies are crushing people. But Lego just kind of has this approach towards mixing play and work, or really play and not just learning, but development, idea building, all of it, just kind of a physical analogy for the mental act, and getting the mind and the body to work together. And so I
watched a documentary on Lego a few years ago about how they were really big when they came out, and then there was kind of a lull.
Yeah.
And now they're like a, multi, billion-dollar corporation, but they've always had this idea with us, like, we'll give you the instructions on how to build the thing that is on the box, but also at the same time, you need to take it apart and build something else. Like, they are more concerned with getting people to think creatively than trying to, put people in the box. Like they're very much, and also about education, which was also really a cool thing. And that you can play Lego as a 9-year-old, or you can do Lego as a 90-year-old. Like I wanted when they came out with the big thing of Bazador, the Eye of Sauron Tower.
Yes. Oh my god!
It's like $500, and I'm thinking to myself, like, where the fuck am I going to put this thing?
It has a real light in it. It's so
I know.
Cool.
And as a Lord of the Rings nerd, I was like, oh, like one of my friends has the Hogwarts castle assembled and displayed in their home, but it's not as big as the Bazador, tower, but it's really cool. Like I know we're supposed to be talking about the topic, but this is kind of related and like hobbies. But one of the things that I want to take up is doing cross stitch, but I want to make like poisonous plants that I can hang in my house.
Can I go grab something? Are we allowed to bring props?
Yeah, you can bring props. So yeah, I would like to hear from the chat, like what weird, like what hobby are you want to get into, or you really like to do?
Speaking of plants.
Oh, there
we go. I was trying to cut the glare. Yeah, I believe Japanese, right? Plum blossom. Chinese, excuse me.
The national flower.
Oh, national flower.
Well, they have the cherry blossom trees, I think, too.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah. Cherry blossom as well.
I've seen that one. I kind of want to get an adult one. I think I just want to get a bouquet of flowers or something. Like I can put it as a centerpiece.
we have the 3x3 succulents in the 3x3 succulents displayed in the bathroom on a shelf, just like next to the sink. And then we also bought the tiny pots, or I got him the tiny pots succulents plant kit. And I don't know if you've seen that one, but they each come in a little, like, it's all Lego, but it looks like clay pot. Mm-hmm. There's 3 different sizes, I think. And there's like 15 or 20 of them. And so you can just scatter them throughout the house if you want, So they're just, it's just so cool. I love it. Anyway, the Lego plants.
Yeah.
I wanted to just chime in on something somebody in the chat said real quick. Yeah, partnership is amazing. I am eternally, I'll use the word, blessed to have met this man, and the
so
grace
cute.
that he's
I want to meet your man.
You will someday. I can guarantee.
Yeah, we're gonna hang. We're all gonna hang.
He's gonna come on camera at some point. You know,
Okay.
we'll loop him in at some point. What's that? Yeah, he said just if it's appropriate. I'm like, babe, it's
that's fine. I don't care.
Yeah,
this is a free chat.
Yeah,
like literally, I designed this channel for guests to come and talk about whatever they want, and if they want to bring their spouse on, I have no problem. You can shop your cat, your dog, your velociraptor.
The cats will make appearances. Woodhouse was not the original crew cat, of course, because that would be Mr. Grainer's crew cat, Vern. His crew cat was first crew cat, but mine was backup crew cat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Remember crew cat? I do remember backup crew cat. Yeah, I don't know if you do it anymore.
It was really fun because when we were doing the 4-year anniversary. Oh my goodness! Hi,
Sorry.
It's a baby. Hello. Sorry, the cat's here.
This is Dusty, and this is Matthew.
Hi, Matthew.
This is Helen and YouTube land.
Hello.
Hello, chat. Hello, YouTube land. hello.
Hi, honey.
So
I love this shit.
I'm sorry, we interrupted you. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I'm sorry. I forgot what I was going to say because I saw the cat.
All good. Cats have that effect. Oh wow, we just hit double-digit watchers. We're at 10.
Oh my god!
It was the cat.
I'm so excited.
It was the cat.
It's the cat. It's cat magic.
He's going to get the other cat.
Okay, good. Like, my cats will just jump up on the desk and then meow at me because I am not giving them TRATS.
Oh, there he is.
Because I had to spell it.
Oh, TRAT. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I can't say it.
I think he even knows the FOOD one if we say it like slowly.
Oh, it's your baby.
Oh, are you gonna show how long?
He's a chonker.
He is a heckin' chonker. Check this out.
He is a chonker. What's his name?
Cat. Woodhouse.
Oh my god, I love him.
He likes belly scratching.
He loves belly. He loves any and all physical contact.
Oh, he's a belly rubber.
Oh yeah.
So one of my cat Bellatrix, when I went to we went to the RFR excursion 2 years ago, and we were going to go for the week. It was only a weekend, so we were going to be like, okay. And one of our friends was coming over, giving them wet food and checking on them, but we left like the dry feeder out, and she was a very skinny little thing when we left.
Uh-oh.
And by the time we got back, no, it was a week. Yeah, we went to Tennessee for a week. She got fat.
Oh.
We left. No, it was like a short. We left on Thursday. Came home on Monday night. So, and she turned into a big chonker. And but she's super cute. She's all black. She's a mink. She is. Actually, if she's still in the bed, I'll go grab her.
Oh yes, please. Yeah, Woody is in the background. You can see his ear there in the lower right corner of my screen.
This is a baby. This is Miss. This is Miss Bellatrix.
Great name, by the way. Phenomenal name.
I know. And she lives up to it too. She's agent of chaos. I call her my favorite demon.
That's great. I love it.
She's never really grown out of kitten mode. And she's also a lap cat. And then we have Cadmus Never Clean, who is just our little gray kitty. And then my oldest, Kai, has a cat that they moved back in with us named Grumpy. And he's like a great tiger kitty.
Grumpy.
And we call him Grumpelstiltskin.
That's great.
And because when he was adopted and when he was at the Cat Depot, which is a local cat shelter, the staff there named him that because he wasn't a super friendly kitty, and he was hiding in the litter box, and they like pulled him out, and my kid was like, "That cat, that's my cat." So, and he's a big old sweet potato. Hi, Aunt Dear.
Hi, Aunt Dear.
So, other than that, moving on, what I was going to talk about. So, so other than loving our cats and talking about our weird hobbies, like I like getting back to what we were talking about. What about kind of finding peace and trying to keep our mental health intact, especially since we're dealing with such
shit.
Fascism.
Shit, either way, dude. I mean,
shit or fat. It's shitty fascism. That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, they're next to each other in the thesaurus. So, I'm really glad you mentioned that, because that is something I definitely wanted to talk about, was mental health. So something that I learned a lot about in, my starting in the insurance sales industry. And when I say sales, all my products have a $0 premium. I don't actually make, seniors pay for anything, because they're already enrolled in the product. I just help them find the right plan that works for them the best. And that's what I learned is, picking out plans that have appropriate copays for your needs. And a lot of people will just go and premium shop, and they'll just get the cheapest plan or the plan they can afford or whatever. And anyway, so I made sure that for this year, for 2025, we have a plan that has $0 copays for therapy. So we can go ahead and actually take care of ourselves and not have to worry about the financial obligation. And that's a huge blessing, because not every area has something like that. But yeah, mental health is imperative. I think, everybody should have a therapist this year, or at least somebody that they can talk to regularly at, a community center or something. Find a friend in your area who is like-minded. And if you can't, find a friend on the internet who is like-minded, and, form networks. Don't drop connections. And it's very hard to do that right now, and people will do that. And so just show other people that same grace, because a lot of people are struggling with mental health right now.
Yeah, it can be. I don't know why I say Matthew was spamming. He's not, but okay, whatever. It's Nightbot. Nightbot is being a bitch right now.
Nightbot, go home. You're drunk.
Yeah. So it and I think that's really important. Because I'm like, it was like, I remember the night of the election, I got no sleep. Okay, to be fair, I went to bed at 11:30 and I woke up at 3 a.m. and I made the mistake of checking my phone.
Oh, that's me most days.
And then I did not fall asleep again. And I had an anxiety stomach ache, which is so much fun. Like I felt like cheaty. I'm like, I have a stomach ache. And then I went to work, and one of my coworkers is also like, I like her. This is the thing about like how I feel. Like she's a wonderful person, but also she is a Trump supporter. And it's not because she is like a terrible person. She's undereducated. Like she doesn't, she is very much about sound bites. She doesn't look at the broader picture.
Yeah, no, I know the type. It's rough.
Yeah, and it's hard because because overall she's a very kind person, and it gets kind of complicated when it's like that, because we would like to dismiss everybody as like terrible, like racist, queerphobic assholes, but you can't when someone is just undereducated on things that are actively affecting other people. And she was like, hey, what's wrong? And I said, it was the election. And she didn't understand why I was upset.
Right.
And I don't like to talk politics at work, because that's not the place to talk about it. But I was deeply affected by it, because it affects me as a woman and as a queer person. And I have, my oldest is trans, and I have a lot of friends that are in the queer community, and also in the atheist community, that we're all kind of sitting here going like, oh no.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot to handle right now. Oh, how do we deal with living in Florida?
Drinking.
One day at a time. I was gonna say, actually, not drinking. That is something that
I'm kidding.
I know. No, I was going to say that's something that we're abstaining from in 2025, just to keep a clear headspace, But marijuana is, well, not recreationally illegal, but otherwise obtainable.
I have my medical card.
Oh, there you go. Strong. Yeah. So does everybody who sits near me at places that I go. Anyway, gotta be careful what I say. So, when, if ever, was the last time you ate gator? Dan from Canada is asking. I think I've eaten gator once. I want to say I've had like a gator taco or something. And that was probably when I was visiting Florida before I moved here, because I moved here in 2020.
When was the last time I had gator? I had it maybe I had gator nuggets at like 8 years ago. Because me and my friends went to this this particular grill. And then before that, I had a gator steak when we visited Florida, but that was when I was like a teenager. Like gator's not that good. Honestly, it's not very tasty.
I don't remember it, to be honest.
It's very chewy and very. It's like a gator. Gator isn't. It's a swamp animal. It's not conducive. It's not good.
Yeah, it's interesting how those cultural things take on just based on what's available, and or not even take on. I think it's more of handed down in this case, because it's probably not the protein of choice by flavor. You know what I mean? But by availability, back in the whenever they first started eating gator here, it wasn't really a choice. But yeah,
the first time I had gator was on a Seminole reservation.
Oh, really?
So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, in the Everglades when I was a teen, like a young. It was the first time I had frog legs too. So,
yeah, I can't say that I've eaten any amphibians. No, and gators are
and I feel like if you want to try it, get it fried. By the way, because everything's better fried.
Oh, yeah.
But you're not missing much. Like if you never have gator, it's fine. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't have to have it. It's okay.
Anyway, I think that kind of threw us off of what we were saying there. But I definitely wanted to talk
we got
about if you had it. I'm like, no, I haven't, except for the once. But like I said, that was a long time ago. I was on vacation in Florida visiting my buddy. And so fried is the American way. Sorry, Dan from Canada.
It is the American way.
I was on vacation here in my early 20s. I was definitely drunk, so I have no memory of what it tasted like, but I do remember ordering it. So maybe I'll try it again someday. We'll see.
You're not missing anything. Yeah. You'll be fine.
Yeah. That's something else actually, kind of coming back to the whole mental health thing. Okay. Sorry for derailing our convo.
It's fine.
Jen, it's all
fine.
good. We're
like this is not formal.
The most chill thing that could happen on
Listen,
YouTube.
I already had someone comment that me and Greg didn't know what we were talking about last week, and I was like, "Thank you for driving the algorithm up, because every time you comment, like it drives people to the channel."
Yeah. Any and all topics of engagement. If anybody has anything to chime in, if we want to work it in, we will. And if other people want to chat about it in the chat, you're welcome to as well. But what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, food. No, that's actually a great segue. It's great at making sure that you have a better baseline of mental health is making sure that you're putting better nutrients in your body. And it's, I'll never say like, oh, hey, try this one neat fix for all mental health problems. Of course, that's not how it works. But if you find yourself, just eating the same diet of not great things and you're also not feeling great, give yourself the grace of, maybe a healthier meal every once in a while. Give a good foundation, I guess. And on the flip side of that is, people who don't eat when they're anxious, also make sure you're feeding yourself properly. I have a loved one who in my family who struggles with anorexia, and it's tricky, it really is, and how to handle taking care of yourself when everything around you feels like it's burning down. And Eating healthy is, it's something that I've definitely worked on. I have a dietary condition, so it's something I don't have a choice about for certain foods, but for other, I could still eat, a more American diet if I wanted to. But we've really enjoyed cooking a lot since he moved in with me last January. Well, he moved in with me. It's our place now. We've moved since then, but it was my place back then. But yeah, we love cooking together and trying new either new recipes or even new proteins sometimes, and or new veggies. Like going to the farmers market, which in Florida you can have in January.
Yeah, you can. There's one every Sunday here. So
yeah, same here. Saturdays and Sundays. Depends on which city. Every city has
you
one.
live in, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, my mother, she lives in upstate New York. The rest of my immediate family, she found an indoor farmers market, which I guess is kind of popping up nowadays because farmers markets are just so damn popular. Because who wants to go to a big grocery store and give them all of your money? And it's funny actually because that's something that I wanted to mention or work in at some point too, and that's working within your community. There's a very small plug I want to throw out there. I don't know the product that well, it's more of a network, but it's called Buy Nothing. And I just started reading up on it, and basically it's just a neighborhood exchange is the easiest way to describe it. And it's an app and a website, and you go in, and the expectation is you don't ask for anything in return, and you can list whatever you want. And farmers markets are very community oriented, and I love that vibe of like, oh, you have the farm like just over there, and the next town over, like, wow, that's cool. Coming to sell their wares. But anyway, on the subject of community though, the Buy Nothing, I definitely want to see that kind of stuff take off because everybody's broke nowadays. It doesn't matter how well you balance your budget. Nobody can afford these costs. It's absurd. And
I live with two other people because me and Todd cannot afford our house on our own.
Right.
And the cost of living, it's just impossible. Like
Yeah.
I'm driving a 2009 Yaris and like I'm driving a beater of a car. I love Latoya, but she's hoopty because I don't want to buy a new car.
Right. Yeah. Because who can afford $700 a month if you're already, dealing with a mortgage and everything else that's gone up? But yeah, so this Buy Nothing app, basically the only rule, well, I'm sure there's rules, but the main rule is that you can't ask for anything in return at all. So if you list something, it's with the understanding that it's given freely. And one of the most moving stories that I saw on their podcast is the first episode. And it was about how somebody got a diamond ring for their daughter who, desperately wanted one. She had some sort of a medical condition and, just wasn't having a great life and wanted a diamond ring really badly. And so somebody actually gave this person a diamond ring to give to their adult child to make their birthday special. I'm like, that's just wild to me. And it just reminds me that, putting the human in humanism is what we need to be doing these days. And, and on the flip side, if you need something, you can also post and ask for it. Everything from a dozen eggs to, lawn furniture is what I've seen on there, just briefly scrolling the last couple days. So it's really cool. But anyway, community.
I mean, because I remember FreeThinker was a thing in the mid 2000s and in the it was like the mid 2000s because I got my cats from FreeThinker, but you could just post stuff on there and be like, hey, I have lawn furniture, does anybody want it? You just had to go pick it up, and there's a lot of online help support that I don't think gets promoted enough. Because I understand people have to make money. I totally get that. But I think there's a lot of really good local organizations that are trying to help people that aren't expecting anything in return. And I think those communities need to be, promoted more,
Absolutely. Promoted, talked about, everything.
because I don't think it's
in.
happening as much as it should, especially in online spaces. And I get it. Like, if you're a content creator, you got to pay the bills. I get that.
Yeah.
I do,
Right.
But also at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, if there's a charity you really like and they're not, you can, you can shout them out as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about finding your whatever broadcast channel you can use to get that message out there. Like you said, for content creators, that's using their platform possibly, and for the rest of us, it's just networking. Like I've always hated that I've never really known my neighbors in all the apartments I've lived at. Definitely in Florida. In Albuquerque, there were a couple communities that I met people in. But most of the time, everybody just kind of keeps to themselves and, does their thing. And it's really the economy that's forcing all of this, I feel like. Sorry, let me adjust my pop filter real quick. It's sliding down there. I don't want to pop too much. Is that better?
Okay. If you were popping, I did not notice.
All right. Cool. So, can you hear me? Check 1, 2.
Yeah, you're fine. Yes, I can still hear you.
So as far as and thank you, Matthew. Everyone is shy until somebody breaks the ice. Absolutely. Oh shoot, what was I saying?
Meeting neighbors.
Meeting neighbors. I just lost my train of thought. Damn it.
So you were in Albuquerque.
No, it was where I was going somewhere with that.
You were going somewhere. I'm trying to keep you on track, man.
No, it's okay. It's okay. All right, back to you, Helen.
Okay. So, well, like where I'm living right now is pretty rural.
I hate that word.
Rural. like, and there's a lot of space between houses. Like me and my oldest went for a walk today, and we were walking around the neighborhood, and there's one house, and then there's like so much space between the next neighbor, which I'm used to living in very condensed neighborhoods. Like the last house we lived in, I knew my neighbors. I don't know the house that's right next to me is for sale, and then the other house is further down the street. So it's but I like it because it's super quiet. I dig it.
Right. Yeah, it's nice in that sense. I hear that.
So also at the same time though, it's like and I know myself. I do. I it's a part of me. I'm like, am I gonna bake a pie and go next door? Introduce myself.
Right, exactly. And it's funny because that's what I remember from the communities that I lived at in New Mexico, where I knew my neighbors, and I should say in upstate New York, I knew all of my neighbors, all 46 of them, in the community that we lived in, and then in the previous community. Yeah, thanks. No, it's just, no, your comment was funny. We're laughing at it. Something. Yes. And so, the economy, that's what I was saying. So economics and how that relates to all of this. Back when, you couldn't go out at 2 a.m. and, get very much, like go to Walmart or whatever, people would work, more regulated hours, and things just weren't as crazy. You'd more 9-to-5 jobs. You had, 40 hours, but with one person working could support your family. 2 people, maybe if you're working low wage jobs, like, I don't know, manual labor of some, blue collar work. But, the work that is unfortunately underpaid and always has been. But especially nowadays, it's like if your neighbor works the midnight shift and you work the first shift, and your other neighbor works the second shift, nobody's going to see each other anyway. So it's hard to find community in that sense as well, whereas when I was growing up, everybody in our neighborhood worked a job where they went home by 7 or 8 p.m., all of the adults, and then all the kids played together. That's just how it worked.
When I grew up, everybody knew each other. I remember summers I'd be gone for most of the day. We would stop in each other's houses to have lunch, grab something to drink, jump in each other's pools, and then on our bikes all day long. And then the rule was you're home when the streetlights come on. Streetlights come on, you go home. That was the rule. I'm a product of the 80s, y'all. It's just, when you grew up that way, and now it's, we're much more a lot of our communities online, which is great. I'm all for people having community, but like also like when I get together, like my friends come over once a month. They're gonna come here next weekend to play Dungeons and Dragons,
Oh,
and
I love that.
having that, face-to-face camaraderie with my friends is so important.
Yeah, there's I mean, even looking at just infants, what is it? Skin on skin contact is not just recommended, it's almost required. Matthew said it is required. Okay, there you go. So being in physical proximity, if not physical contact to people, is, as humans, we derive a response to that, a physical and chemical response. And you just can't get that through your phones. And not to say that those aren't valid ways of keeping community, because they absolutely are. It's just very important to figure out a way to also sprinkle in a little bit, even if it's only 5-10% of one's social connections, within the area around them. And it's hard to do, it really is, to go out and, make friends. I mean, the internet sometimes makes it easier as far as, dating sites. Those are very hit or miss. Yeah, Matthew's saying something in chat I definitely want to agree with, as far as losing trust in our own communities. And I think some of that comes from losing trust in our infrastructure and our establishments as well. I mean, we see a government that hasn't raised the minimum wage in over 2 decades, the federal minimum wage, and, left states to deal with it, which I think is ridiculous. And, we see underfunded communities that are even more underfunded now than they ever have been. They're closing schools in Black neighborhoods, for example, or taking out post offices and voting centers. And that's happening all over the South, and really in a lot of states that one wouldn't expect it to happen either, as far as like this corporate power that's almost amorphous to one party. It's taken hold of the Republican Party, but you can find those same dollars funding Democrats. And so as far as losing faith in our institutions, I think that's where a lot of this lack of trust is coming from, because if you can't trust your police officer, you're not going to trust your kids to go outside. It's just that simple. Not knowing your neighbors, you can't trust your kids around them. So anyway, I don't mean to doom and gloom too much on that subject, and I've been monologuing for a minute here. So
it's it's a good point, because like I like a lot of my community's online, and I'm not gonna sit there and poo poo on it, because, but also too, like I've like when I go to like I'm gonna go to Back Cruise this year. I've been to 2 RFR excursions, and being able to like hug and be in physical space with people, it's it's so different, because I see people every week, but when I'm in the same room and I can touch them,
right,
and have that contact and hug and hang out as just people, in the same space, it's a different feeling. It's like you're not just this big, and it makes a huge difference.
Oh my gosh, I need to just address someone real quick. Hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason. No, there's nobody in Maryland.
So Jason is a very special person to me. We both started volunteering for the ACA, I think around the same time, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he's still in those circles and helping keep the those shows going. And anyway, Jason also enjoyed, I don't think he's on Facebook anymore, but in the past enjoyed being in every comment section of everything that I posted, and with very interesting things to say every single time. So I always appreciate Jason's input. In fact, you should try to have him on one of these, because I'm sure
I'm probably gonna have him on. Like I'm just gonna pull people. Like I'm booked all the way till mid-April, but
that's great.
Like I just pull these bitches. I know plenty of people. I'm like, you want to come on my show?
Oh, you are my biggest troll, Jason.
That's a compliment.
It is. I've come to accept it for what it is. And you know why? Because I also know Jason's wife, and she is an absolute sweetheart. And so there's no way that there's not like a decent core in there somewhere.
He pretends he's a butthead, but we all know the truth.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
We all know the truth about you, Jason.
Grumpy puppy.
We all know. We all know.
He really
we know.
I've never seen somebody stick his neck out that far to keep volunteer work going. But yeah, anyway.
Like, and still working nights, by the way, which is kind of amazing. So, you know, shouts out to Jason for, you know, keeping the midnight oil burning. And then it's like, oh, I also have to do my volunteer stuff because like
during the day.
Yeah, pretty impressive. So, but it is one of those things though, like we tend to forget, and especially in this community, because like a lot of our activism is online, because that's where all the people are, which is fine, and I have no problem, obviously, because I have my own fucking channel. But also at the same time, like you need to be in physical contact with people, and I don't think this is just like, oh, you know, younger people are more online. Yes, we are, like younger people are more online, but I don't think it's, I'm not sure it's an epidemic as much as people think it is. I don't know. I know that loneliness is, because I think I think that's the, like, I don't think it's like, I'm just pulling stuff out of my butt. Like you can communicate with people online all day and it kind of staves it off. But I think the loneliness not from physical touch, and it doesn't have to be intimate. Like, you know, you're gonna have sex with somebody, just getting a hug from your friends, and like watch and sitting down next to each other and like making food together and watching like a stupid movie, you know, or playing a board game, or just like, you know, talking in the same physical space. You know, I think that that kind of gets lost. You know, and I think that for especially people that have spent a lot of time online and they don't know how to do social interactions, whether they're on the spectrum or they have some kind of mental health issues, or they just aren't, they live in a very rural place where they just, it's going to take them like a drive a half an hour to go anywhere.
Or if they don't drive, and that's the case, you know. And I should amend that and say, you know, with understanding for those who don't have the ability to, but there is always a line where, you know, you can and this isn't for every single individual, of course, but, you know, I've known times when, you know, speaking for myself, I guess I should, where I've just chosen to lay there. Could I have gotten up and gone out? Yeah. Would I have felt better? Yeah. Did I know that at the time? Yeah. And I still didn't, you know, and I went back and, you know, later regretted that. And so now it's, you know, after COVID, it was especially rough. And I feel like the youngest generation now is still reeling from that blow, as far as interacting in person. You know, I hear horror stories from middle school and elementary school teachers in, you know, in some areas. But again, I don't mean to make it seem like it's an epidemic or anything. It's just, it is something we definitely need to be mindful of, though, because it wasn't as big of a concern prior to COVID, but I think it was still a problem back then. It just wasn't as big of a problem. Whereas now, you know, it's very easy to doom spiral, you know?
Oh yeah. It's, like I will do like news breaks, where I won't look at the news for like 3-4 days. And I think that's very good for your mental health. To like, you know, not pay attention to what's going on in politics, not always concerned about like, and I understand that some people, like, because it's instant, like you can just put in whatever you want into your search, you know, whatever platform you're on, and you can find stuff about, you know, how terrible it is going to, you know, for certain groups of people. And but also at the same time, like you have to take care of your mental health. Like I'm like, don't doom scroll. Like just put, like if you want to watch, a Snoopy special to get you through,
Right.
like you want to watch a Peanut special and you want to have your childhood nostalgia just for, half an hour, do it, because that's going to keep you sane. If you're constantly triggering your anxiety, your brain's going to get trained. And someone that has generalized anxiety disorder,
Yeah.
you gotta, you have to kind of stifle it a little bit to keep yourself, sane.
Yeah.
You do,
Absolutely.
because it's not healthy. He's your baby.
I know he is having the best chin scratchers of his life right now. Yeah, Miss Non Sequitur. I know that feeling too. And like I said, there's no line of judgment there of like who should be able to and who shouldn't be able to, as far as diagnoses and whatnot. Like I had a friend back in Albuquerque who couldn't drive, and she was incredibly anxious because of because of her anxiety. That's why she didn't drive. Excuse me. She wasn't confident in that decision-making process, but she was also super open about that with all of her friends. And we just all drove her places. Like it wasn't a problem. She just told us like, hey, I can't drive and this is why. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll drive you places. I don't mind. And so never hesitate to ask for help from those who love you, or care about you. Is definitely something to remember in the coming years.
And I think that's just a failure of American culture, because in other places around the world where they're not as like independence is a good thing. Like, yes, independence is a good thing. Like, I'm a very independent person, but I'm also not afraid to ask for help.
Right.
I don't think there's any shame in asking for help. Where like this whole mentality about American is being independent to a fault. If someone has if they're not able to drive, they don't feel comfortable driving. I get that.
Yeah.
And if they're able to work from home, but they need a ride to the grocery store. Like, it's almost like this thing, like they're ashamed to ask to get a ride to the grocery store once a week.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, we have like people that, older people that can't drive anymore. We have people that have disabilities that can't drive. Like, why is it any different? Like, if you have like, any sort of anxiety about driving and you need help, just if someone loves you, they'll be like, yeah, fine. I'm like, we can do our grocery shopping together.
Right. Exactly. Find a way to work within your community with the understanding that you may have to do things that aren't typical, but typical and I guess reasonable and acceptable are two different things, because my husband's in chat right now talking about how unfriendly American infrastructure is to non-vehicle drivers. And it really truly is. There's so many places where you can't.
And it's one of those things that even though I know people walk for 1,000 reasons, I will still be like, why are you walking? Like, I like that's, or why are you taking the bus? Like, and it's horrible. Like, I totally admit that I do it. Like, I'm not going to sit there and pretend I don't. Because like those thoughts flitter across your brain.
Right.
And it's just because I live in America and like everybody's supposed to have a fucking car. Where if you're living in New York City, nobody has a car.
Yeah. And
nobody has a car if you live in San Francisco, like these big metropolises, like where they have like a subway system. Nobody has a car.
Right. Yeah. In New York City, it all works. I mean, are there flaws? Are there faults? Are there needs for improvement? Sure, but the city wouldn't be that big if it didn't work. You know what I mean? People wouldn't live there. They would choose to live somewhere else, and not to make the argument that, oh, if you don't like it, then move somewhere else, because that's very much a conservative argument.
I will tell you that there was a plan for Florida to have what's the word I'm looking for? An L train? Yeah. That was supposed to go from Orlando to Miami. And no, Tampa to Miami. Okay, that was all. That was going to be a thing. And then Rick Scott was like, no.
Yeah, and it makes no sense because you know how many people would benefit from that? Because the
Right.
cost would be low. You wouldn't have to carry car insurance to take it to work every day. Excuse me, sorry. I didn't mute my mic in time.
Oh my God, because like I have to drive. I drive 37 miles every day to and from work. I would love if I had a train that I could just take and not put all this fucking wear and tear on my car.
And then take a bus, you know, and then you would have a family car. You'd have one car that you could take your family places should you need that. And then maybe one of the two parents can commute if needed, you know?
Yeah.
But then if not, the car can just sit there. There's nothing wrong with the car sitting there. But yeah, and it's funny because I used to sell cars. I may even go back to selling cars. I'm currently weighing my options. And so I'm not against the concept, of course, but the way we do it in America is ridiculous. Jason's saying
all the retired people in Florida would not need cars, and thank goodness, because Florida drivers, old people suck. Like, and it's not because we have the infrastructure put in place where old people don't need a car. They could take a bus. They could take a system where they could get go to their doctor's appointments, and it's just not set up for it's just not set up for people to not have a vehicle. And then they wonder why there's all these old people getting into car accidents. It's like because they don't have a choice. I'm like, their wheels are their ability to get two places.
Right. What are they supposed to do? Just not go to the grocery store and hope groceries show up?
Yeah. And they're like, well, why don't they just use like Instacart? I'm like, listen, I go,
you know how expensive that is?
Well, one, it's expensive, and two, like older people are scared of technology. Like
that too.
It's very overwhelming for them, you know. And I think for those of us who are younger, it's just habit. For older people, it's not like
right.
Trust me, I talk to old people all day.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, so the last dealership I worked at for almost a year was within 10 miles of Boca. It was in Delray Beach, and I sold cars to people who I know should not have had driver's licenses, and there's nothing I could do about it because it's not my job, and there's no infrastructure or support system for the state to remove somebody's license if you just see them driving awfully. They have to voluntarily give it up because freedom, because America, because Eagle.
Because again, that's the independent mentality. Right. I should be self-sufficient, and I'm like, yeah, you can be. We want people to be independent as far as it will go, but if you have arthritis and your sight is bad and your reflexes are bad, like you shouldn't be in a car. That's the reason why we have like drunk driving laws.
And also to add to that, if those who lose, I mean, I won't say necessarily self-sufficiently, but definitely capacity, to some extent, may not immediately appear to lose self-sufficiency, and yet here they are, only maintained by the fact that they can pay a staff to make it look like they still have their their marbles, because obviously living in the Southeast Florida, I live near incredibly wealthy people who would just come in and get I probably shouldn't say what brand I sold, but they'd come in and get an entry-level consumer car just to have here, at one of their 10 homes in 5 different states to drive, when they need to go somewhere. And they'd still haggle for every penny, which I found to be hilarious. But yeah, it's sad to see that, these people they have to, do it because, like you said, they don't have any choice for getting their resources. And so they either knowingly or not will operate a vehicle without the ability to safely do so, because some people do it knowingly because they have to go to the grocery store. They have no other way to get their food. And some people don't know that they shouldn't be driving anymore. They just aren't aware that they're slipping that much, I remember there's this incredibly wealthy man who I sold a car to who, I must have explained how to use the key fob about 10 different times. And he almost hit a pedestrian driving out of the parking lot. I'm just like, well, I should not have sold a car to that man, but I did because that's
You
not.
can't, but the thing is that you can't say no.
You can't say no. I mean, I'd lose my job. Like,
Right.
even if I didn't lose
You're
my
like,
job,
oh no.
yeah, it's just like, okay, well, somebody else is going to sell this guy a car. There's, anyway. But yeah, back to the infrastructure thing and social support and all of that. That's why it's important we keep together.
And then the funny things though, instead of like developing a subway system or a better bus system or public transit, they're talking about like self-driving cars, and I'm like, can we just set up like a train system, and then we don't have to have people spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a car when we could just invest in having a subway system that was easy access for people to get to.
Right, exactly. I just want to chime in on a couple things in chat real quick. I love road trips too. I very much want the system of semi-individual transport to continue to exist. I think it would be silly to rip it out because our country is so damn big. That being said, I also think that it would be great to have a train you could take from LA to New York, and from New York to Miami, and from New York to Seattle, and Seattle to LA. Like we need to have a big way to get around without having to spend $5,000 to $1,000 on a plane ticket, depending on where you're eventually trying to go and where you have to connect through. It would be much more practical to go, okay, I'm trying to go to rural Northern California, so I'm going to take this maglev train from Seattle to LA, and then I'm going to take a bus or a subway or something up to where I can then rent a car and then go where I need to go or something like that. But anyway, there's just so many better ways we could build this system.
And that's the thing, like I don't know how we got on this tangent, but here we go. Like there is a train system, but it's not well regulated. So no wonder trains aren't seen as safe because of deregulation. And that's a problem when we don't have government oversight keeping people safe. And then people don't want to take trains because they're like, oh my God, what if I get into a train crash and I'm going to die? Because hundreds of people die in those things, which is understandable. I'm like, but again, I'm if I was creating a society,
Jason is saying that Europe has been ripping out their roads in big cities while keeping their highways, and that's exactly kind of what I'm getting at. Something like that, like what Europe is doing, because their societies are their political issues right now are kind of concerning, but not nearly as concerning as ours are. You know what I mean?
And this is the thing, like those of us that, one of the things about having online communities is that you're talking to other people from different places, which is great. And you hear things from their perspective. Still, like even when we talk to our people over across the pond, they'll say like, yeah, we have problems, but we're not having the same problems you're having,
right.
And it's just like, I know.
I talk to seniors who and connecting the dots for anybody who joined who wasn't watching earlier, rural communities to transit to connectivity to your surroundings, et cetera, public transit. But what Matthew was saying, divided communities, but with highways, they do just cut right through certain communities. It's wild how we've done this to ourselves. Because we really have, and the auto lobby has had a huge part of it as far as funding the building of roads. And it's funny, Matthew always, likes to talk about when they're putting in more lanes in a highway, how putting in a new lane never helps with traffic. Just never.
Oh, no.
Never. It never helps with traffic. And it's not the construction. After the construction, it still doesn't help with traffic because it gives one more lane for one driver to make a poor decision that will make 20 other people have to slow down. And, it just doesn't make sense. If you're going to move it at a high speed, it should be in a single direction and with many people on the, the transit device, whatever it may be, vehicle. There we go.
Yeah, it like the system's just broken, unfortunately. Which is it's just the way that it is. The system is broken,
Yeah.
and I can understand the frustration. I like there's definitely things I can think of 1,000, and this is the burden of an overeducation. When you're well educated and a lot how different systems work and where the money's going, you're kind of like,
Yeah.
how lobbyists work,
Oh,
and
yeah, absolutely.
and that started in the the 70s, and also Reagan ruined everything. So, it's just
Excuse me.
it's a constant cycle, and then it's always you think you made one step forward and it's 2 steps back, and lately it feels like it's 1 step forward, 4 steps back,
Right.
and also, but finding peace is important, because if we don't do something, it sucks. I wish in a perfect world, Helen would do 4 things. She would play video games, she would drink wine, hang out with her friends, and have orgasms. Those are the 4 things I want to do. But I can't. That's the only 4 things I want to do. That's it. But I
Back to
can't.
what Jason
I
was
have
saying
to
about
go
blackjack
do
and
activism
cookies.
stuff and
Yeah.
vote and be all educated and stuff, and
Right.
support marginalized voices so they have a platform and talk about the things that matter to them, because I'm a marginalized voice, and we have to all take fucking care of each other and fight against the shit. I wish I didn't have to do that, but I have to do that.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure you'd rather do Lego sets with your man than
absolutely.
have to sit here and be like, I'm sorry, please don't take away my rights.
Yeah. That's something, taking away rights, kind of reminds me of something that I wanted to comment on earlier, and that's your Trump supporting coworker and how to interact with those individuals and groups, even as a very left-minded person. It's tricky, and so the recipe that I've kind of figured out is to avoid trigger words, and that would be anybody's name. So I don't use names, and if they try to bring up names, I say, hey, I'm not interested in talking about any of those people. I'm interested in talking about what you think. If you can't share what you think without citing them, then I need you to think about what you think and then get back to me. But there's this guy that I sit next to, and oh my gosh, talk about indoctrinated. He's a picture of Trump, middle fingers up, on his water bottle that says Trump 2024. And it's just like, oh, I'll be back or something. And I'm just like, oh, that's charming. And this person is trying to convince me, because he's registered as an independent, which he is, that he's a free thinker. I'm just like, no, you're not, though, actually. And I will prove to you why. And so what we did when we actually had the discussion that he had been trying to force me to have with him for about 2 months, because I'd been deflecting it. I'm like, nope, I'm here to sell insurance. I'm here to work. I'm here to make money and go home and do the rest of my life there. President Musk can go.
Yeah.
Oh,
please come.
Anyway. Oh my God. So yeah, the way I ended up bringing it up was, whatever topic he brought up, and I kind of used street epistemology was really the best comparison for it, but with the specific exemption of using anybody's name as far as politicians, whether it be somebody in the past, somebody in the present. If you're trying to have that conversation, and because you have to have it. Now, if you don't have to have it, just don't have it. It's not worth it right now. Over the coming years
together for me to have that conversation. We're both, and we are partners in our position. Right. I don't want to get into that conversation with her because I don't. It's too much. And honestly, I do enough of this talk online. I don't really want to do it at work. I plant seeds. If she said something,
and that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. She mentioned, she said, this was a couple months ago. She said something about listening to certain comedians, and she mentioned somehow and not something where she listens to people that make fun of other groups of people, and I didn't say that I thought that was terrible. What I said to her was, I try to imagine if I was a member of that group and how it would make me feel. So I don't listen to those people. And that's all I said.
Yeah.
Just plant a seed.
Yeah.
Because she has empathy. She's a nice person. So I'm, and she cares so I know that she's not like a narcissist. I don't care about other people, like fuck you, like sociopath. She has empathy, and I just said it and left it at that.
Yeah, and let her figure out the rest, because that's the thing is, you really, with people who have beliefs that they hold this deeply, you cannot talk them out of it. And so what our conversation surrounded was pretty much his topics, whatever topics he brought up. He brought up illegal immigration. I asked him, okay, tell me how that works. And it turned out he didn't know what he was talking about at all. He went out to find information proving one thing, and he found information proving what I was saying, which was that you cannot go to the DHS website, download a PDF, fill it out, and then vote the next day. If you're not a citizen, if you're not a citizen, mind you. Like, that's just not that's not a thing that happens. And so I told him, I was like, okay, go find me the form. And he's like, well, I don't know where it is. And I said, okay, well, who knows where it is? And he's like, well, these people online. And I was like, okay, well, go see if they know. And he looked, and no, I can't find any information corroborating what I'm saying. And then it just went downhill from there, and we talked about whatever he wanted to talk about, pretty much. I didn't push any points or any narratives. Like I said, I really just slid into, I thought about what would Anthony Magnabosco do right now.
Right. And, what would Anthony do?
Yeah, exactly. And so when I was able to make a point of, wow, that really doesn't align with the way you told me you want to raise your family, I did. Because he has a 4-month-old daughter and a wife. And so he eventually said something that was so heinous and cruel. I was like, do you really want to teach your daughter that that's the world that your dad made? And he's like, well, I didn't mean it like that. And I was like, well, how did you mean it? And he just couldn't explain it. And it just crumbled from there. And he ended up telling me, thank you. Like, it was a really enlightening conversation. I didn't really think too hard about those things. And, I'm going to go home and think about them. And of course, then he went and voted for Trump 3 days later. But still, it was my way of getting my steam blown off without creating a repeating conversation, because guess what? He never did again. Never brought it up, because he felt like a fucking idiot, because he was. But I didn't tell him he was a fucking idiot. I didn't, make him feel that way. I didn't demean him or make him feel dumb. I was like, okay, follow through. You're saying this. Let's say I believe you. Where does it go from here? What is this thing you're describing? So anyway, without harping on it too much, that's the only way that I've found that I can engage in those conversations. Because when I was working at dealerships, it was even worse. Like, oh my goodness, talk about just pure capitalist MAGA sycophancy. And so I just had to keep my head down and not even broach the topic at all. I didn't talk about politics for 3 years at work. It was crazy. Never done anything like it in my life. I always talk about politics at work before that.
Yeah, I don't talk about politics at work as a rule. I've worked with too many diverse populations that I don't want to. It's too exhausting, because I'm a progressive. I got too many fucking opinions.
Right.
And most of them are negative about the government. And I'm also an anarchist. So that's another thing. Please don't talk to me about I don't I want to burn it all down and start again, because I just don't think it's working.
Or fixable.
Yeah, it's not fixable. I'm like, oh no. And it's not because because I'm not right about things. Do I think I should have complete control over everything? Fuck no, because I have my hubris, and there's definitely going to be things that I'm going to screw up on. Please don't make me, the arbiter of what society should look like, because I'm going to fuck up. That's why I believe in democracy, because I think it should be as diverse as possible, even with people that don't agree with me and that are not me, as diverse as possible, because then you really have to talk about things where not everything is homogeny, And I think that's healthy. But at the same time, if I want to have peace in my life, then that means that I have to choose where I'm going to have those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be online. It's not going to be at work. When I go to work, I do my job.
Right. Yeah, that makes 100% sense.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's and that's the thing too, is back when I talked about politics more, I was in a less professional field. You know, it was food service, retail. If you're in a more professional field, which I know you are for sure, and you know, I am now, I feel like car sales was on the rougher side of things. You know, but insurance sales is a lot cleaner. There's a lot you can't do, you know, including just be shady, which, yeah, anyway.
Well, and I also think too, like if you're doing any sort of, like my job is very professional, but also too, like even if it wasn't, I don't think I would engage.
That's fair.
Because just because like I have to have some sort of, because like a majority of my life is doing activism. Like this is a thing like I was born to do, for lack of a better term. Because I care. But the thing is though, also that, like when I do this because I'm passionate about it. And I care. And when my job is to pay my bills.
Right. Exactly.
So I can do this. And I think that for a lot of people, they don't have that separation. Like it has to be everything. And I'm like,
oh yeah, that was me for a while. It still kind of is, to be honest. I mean,
I don't think I don't take my hat off all the time. Like, cause like as soon as someone starts talking shit, because like my coworkers know that I'm an atheist. They know I'm queer. So like everybody knows, like I don't hide it, but I just don't, it's kind of like, it's just Helen.
I hid that I was an atheist and that I was that I had, you know, left of center politics or really non-right politics when I was at dealerships. And it's funny too, because everybody just assumed that because I was gay, which again, I never told people. It was so funny to watch them find out because I'm very straight presenting, you know. And when we're just bros talking about cars all day, you know, I don't stand out in a lineup of car sales reps, I guess, as the queer one. You know what I mean? And so people would assume when they met me that I wasn't gay. And it was just so funny when the glass ceiling finally shattered, just to watch, you know, because the reaction always told me whether or not the person was homophobic, because if they didn't really react that much, then I'm like, all right, cool, I can chill with this person. But if it was earth shattering to them and they're like, oh my gosh, I see you in a whole different light now, I'm like, maybe we shouldn't be friends. You know?
Which is
why?
That's really funny because like, because your personality didn't change. It wasn't like suddenly like, you know, okay, like I like penis, cool. like and you you know, and
so does your wife, you know, can we hang
out?
So
does your wife. So what does that mean?
But yeah, no, at that workplace I definitely did not ever talk about politics. At my, like I said, at my current one, well, oh my gosh. So I take inbound phone calls, right? I don't make outbound calls. I'm not a solicitor. I take inbound calls from seniors responding to ads for Medicare benefit upgrades, pretty generic. So they come in just knowing that we're going to talk about upgrading their benefits, not knowing much else than that. Some of these people don't really have capacity and they'll just go off. And I've talked to some people, fascinating. They're both on Medicaid and massive Trump supporters. You know, they're getting $400 food cards. Yeah, through their Medicaid plan. Yeah,
I'm like, you're on the social program.
Yeah, like they have Medicaid plans, right, for people on Medicare and Medicaid that have $200-$400 food cards a month on them, and that's great. I want those people to have those benefits to buy health, and it only works for healthy foods too. You can't buy soda. You can buy, you know, steak, chicken, veggies, milk, bread, you know, but you can't buy junk food with it. It won't buy chips. And people hate that, but I'm like, okay, but also you're on Medicaid for a reason.
Right.
You know, it's because your health isn't great right now. So let's work on that. But yeah, and then they'll talk and they'll go off about Biden, they'll go off about Kamala. And still, even now, I'm like, your guy won. What are you complaining about? Like, you just won all three branches of government. What else do you want? And watch as
yeah,
those
that's
food
the thing.
cards are going to go away. I just watch. It's so
well,
sad.
I think that I think also too for a lot of these people, they know the system is not working in their favor, and I'm just gonna say this. I'm not saying I know this, but like when you're religious, you are taught that there's going to be this one person that is going to save you, and I think that transfers over into politics. That there's going to be this, savior that is going to fix everything for you. Because if you talk to them, a lot of them have all the same concerns we do, like the cost of education, healthcare,
Right.
not being able to afford, day-to-day living. Like I try having a savings account, it never goes anywhere. I try, and something always comes up. I
Made it
try.
about 2
I try.
years when I was in car sales, and
Yeah, with like me, my HR manager is living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, like
wild. Yep.
it's wild. So and when you explain, and so they have all the same concerns that we do, but they think that one person is going to come in and fix it. I'm like, no, it has to be a collaboration, and it has to work for everybody, regardless of your political position. And I think, and that's why they fall into like these easy sort of talking points that it's, the immigrants, or it's like whatever bullshit that they flies into their brain. I'm like, no, it's corporations screwing you over, and corporations being involved in politics. That's all it is. It's not magic. It isn't that hard. And I think they have the same concerns, but their solutions are different, because they think that if one person, comes in and fixes everything, then it's not complicated, but it's very complicated. You are muted. You're muted.
Sorry, I don't want to keep. I muted myself so you wouldn't hear me typing, but I don't want to keep typing back to Miss Sequitur. I actually just want to reply verbally because too much to say. So I definitely have a lot to say about what healthcare plans do and don't do. I should probably watch my words because I sell these products as well. So my that's interesting, Miss Sequitur. So maybe it's not available in your area, or Miss Non Sequitur, excuse me. Maybe it's not available in your area, but the states that I work in, I should say, and the companies that I work with have it's like a healthy food utility, and some even can use it for transportation card. And it has a certain amount based on the Medicaid level. There's 6 levels of Medicaid, 7 maybe, depends on the state, which is just absurd. And nobody is supposed to know how to manage this except for the healthcare companies and agents like me. And who am I? I'm a guy who took a bunch of online classes, so now I manage people's healthcare plans. Okay. Thank God I take this seriously. Because if I didn't, like, fuck. But yeah, in my plan that I was just on, which is just a marketplace plan, I'm not on Medicaid. And you can be on Medicaid without Medicare. You can be on Medicare without Medicaid. The plans that have these food benefits are typically the ones who are on both. Anyway, the plan that I was on last, it gave me points for doing preventative testing, right? Like diagnostic testing, annual wellness visit. And I can use those points to buy anything from a travel package, which, you have to have all 8 members of your family doing this thing to have enough points for that. But for me, I bought us a new toaster oven, and I put $175 towards rent via a prepaid Visa. And this is a healthcare plan, mind you, I'm paying $400 a month for. I would rather pay $200 a month for, and you can keep the fucking toaster oven. Thank you. You know what I mean? Like, why is this the system that we have? None of this makes sense. This isn't related to my healthcare. I mean, yeah, okay, giving me a reward, $10 Starbucks gift card for doing my preventative screenings, that's great. But $175 towards my rent and a toaster oven. Like, what a strange interaction with a healthcare company. So anyway.
But that would lead into quality of living, though, which leads into health. Like health isn't always like doctors and exercising and food. It's also leaning into a sort of idea that like getting a travel package, experiencing life is healthy for you.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I'm with you 1,000%. The system that I'm envisioning wouldn't just be removing those benefits; it would also be us not paying a premium out of our own pockets for it, and it just being a state, a government system.
Oh my God, can we just have that?
Yeah, no, I'm with you, but it's funny because it's like they keep adding these benefits because people can't buy these things by themselves, so they include them in these plans. And what's a plan? It's a subscription. You pay a monthly premium for it. Guess what else is going to the subscription model? Fucking everything. And so it's, again, I'm not against it, and I'm not going to pretend that it's anybody's bad for taking advantage of anything that's available to them. Anything and everything. If you are not a billionaire, if you're not a billionaire,
I'm not going to take advantage of something that I'm like, you're giving me free shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you're not a multi-millionaire,
it's not free. It's money's coming from somewhere, but still, like, if this is part of buying into the plan, why would I punch a gift horse in the mouth?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And that's why I always say, like, I don't want food stamps to go away. I want fewer people to need food stamps. I want wages to be such that, you only need food stamps if you lose your job, not if you have your job. Like, there are people who are working and on food stamps, which is just insane to me. The job should be paying enough such that the person can live. It's not the food stamps that are the problem. It's
like
the
when I had the kids, my ex-husband had a full-time job, and I was on WIC and I was on Medicare.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I'm glad those systems exist. That's what I want.
Yeah, I'm glad those programs exist. But like back when my parents had me and my brothers, like, yeah, like it was a struggle, but also at the same time, like, you could send your kid to college. You could save up to do those things. You could support, a two-person, a wife and two kids on one income. You can't do that anymore.
Right.
Like there's 4 people living in my house, all contributing, and we are
scraping by.
There's a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you 100%. I mean, he's currently in the job market. Even when we were both working, we were doing okay. Like, just okay. We're not saving for a property or anything. We're just paying our monthlies and, throwing a couple hundred in a savings account every couple months. And then, job change happened and here we are. But yeah, like I said, I will never, ever disparage anybody for taking a resource that's available to them to sustain their life. And, like, I definitely want to amend what I said earlier.
But I do agree with you. Like, it'd be so much better if you could afford to, not have advantage to take it like a vacation, like, like have it like a vacation package part of your insurance.
Right. Like, exactly. And
I don't think that should be.
You're not paying $800 a month because that's our premium right now for both of us.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. And like the thing is, though, like, and that's the thing, like, I keep talking about, I'm terrified of getting like really sick. Like, my insurance is decent, but also at the same time, like, there's this whole thing about being emboldened to your employer for your insurance, which I think is fucked up, but that's a different conversation. But that's the thing. Like, it's become private when really it should just be a human right. And we are all pooling our resources to pay like 10 extra dollars a year in taxes,
right?
For everybody to have universal health care.
It's funny you say that such a small number, because realistically, that's what it would be if we cut the bureaucracy. I mean, maybe not literally $10, but it would be such an infinitesimally small number if you cut out the copays, the co-insurance, all the things that people have to pay for out of network that they have no choice. They have to get that thing done, and then the actual premiums, and then the salaries for all those people and all those different companies that all do the same exact thing. There are certain industries that don't need competition. They need innovation, though. And that's where you need
Yes,
to
they do.
have an incentive structure for innovation, not for competition. But competition
Which
is
leads
a
into
way that you
having better
can.
education.
Exactly. Yeah, but
Yeah,
competition
everything
can
beats each
drive.
other.
Right. And back to something, because Miss Non Sequitur, I'm a huge fan of anybody who contributes in chat. So keep it coming. But part of the
Yeah.
problem that they make these programs so dense and confusing and obfuscated. Matthew, what's your saying about? Oh, he's in the other room. Shoot. What's your saying about the design of the system?
Oh, the purpose of the system is what the system does.
The purpose of the system is what the system does.
Right.
So if the system is dense and confusing and obfuscating, what does that say about the system?
Right.
Yeah, and so it's one of those things where, you know, we have 141 different plans for couples that we could qualify for, and they were ranging from, you know, subsidized by a $300 a month tax subsidy, ranging from I think $350 a month for no coverage, just none whatsoever. You pay full price everywhere you go up to 20 grand, and then the plan pays in full after 20 grand. And I'm like, okay, that's great.
Well, that's dumb.
Right? Like, so you just pay for the service if you use it. And then once you hit the plan maximum, the plan pays for the rest. Okay. Well, if you have 20 grand, you can afford better than $250 a month. And those plans have $0 copays for some things. And so anyway, there's 141 different options, and the most expensive one was about $2,800. That's more than our rent. That was more than my rent when I had a 2-bedroom. And that plan still has copays, which is insane. And so, you know, and when I say has copays or doesn't have copays, you know, there's a billion different things you could have a copay for. And so, yeah, anyway, there are so many different layers to it, and none of it is necessary in my non-professional opinion.
Well, I'm sure even people that are working in these industries recognize that it's arbitrary, you know, like,
well, people in my
because
industry,
if you're dealing with this all day long, you're looking at it going, why do we do this, you know,
right.
And why do we make people jump through so many hoops, like, you know, and like if you break your leg, you're like $40,000 in debt.
Yeah,
like
right,
why?
Exactly. Hey, Dusty. No, I was trying to get a cat to come on screen, but no, she doesn't want to.
No, okay, yeah, she.
Yeah, apparently a majority of bankruptcies in the U.S. are medical.
Oh yeah, I like when I got really sick back in 2012, if my husband didn't have supplemental insurance on top of his regular insurance through his work, we would have had to go bankrupt.
Right. Yeah. No,
because I spent a month in a hospital.
Yeah.
A month. And I had to get physical therapy for a year after that.
Right. Yeah. And heaven forbid anything should happen to you, accident or not, you know. And that's the thing is people, what's the conservative argument? It's, taxes are used to disincentivize something. So why do they tax income? It just disincentivizes work. With the argument that we tax alcohol and cigarettes to disincentivize drinking and smoking, which is true in those senses. But it's the fallacy is that you can't make a unilateral argument for anything. You know, if it's a broad system, and taxes have multiple uses. And so anyway, I would say that
this is how I feel. Like we are on a totally different subject.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm not poo-pooing it because this is what the show's designed to do. Like whatever you want to talk about, even if it's not the topic that you came in and talk about. I don't really care, because everything feeds into each other, and I don't like healthcare is not separate from education. Like one feeds the other. You know. Politics feed healthcare and education, you know,
right.
And we are part of we are cogs in many wheels, and unless you're able to like do this sort of, even if like my brother says something like, whether you're rich or poor, you have money problems.
Right. Yeah. It's really a wild time right now.
Yeah,
not even right now,
but one way or the other, and I think because we're living in post-capitalism, you know, realizing that is you're kind of like, well, the system doesn't work. Like, and obviously, like, I'm not a communist, I'm not. But like, I feel
Oh,
like, you
should I
can have a
leave?
blend. You can have a capitalist system, and like, I don't want the government making my shoes,
Right.
but
No,
healthcare
I
and
hear that.
education, I just feel like should be human rights.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Education too, because like you said, it's what we need as a foundation for a stable society. And I think as we see the education systems get slowly taken over by
I love living in Florida.
religion. Yeah. I had a
I'm
friend
so glad my
who,
kids are not in school anymore.
yeah, oh
I'm
my God, seriously. But yeah, I had a
like
friend
one of
who
my friends,
sorry.
her daughter's 3, and then they have I think Dorian's 6 months old, and they're thinking about moving to Europe because
Right.
they
Oh,
don't want their kids to go into or their husband he's a stay-at-home dad, will homeschool to not put them in the education system in Florida.
yeah. See, and it's funny because the religious people are now finally okay with putting their kids in school. The ones who were homeschooling, you know what I mean? Like I know I have a friend whose wife, they're very religious. He's a
Which
good
is
friend of
really
mine, but
which
yeah.
says something about having to have 2 income
Oh, yeah.
households, but they don't want their kids to go to school because it's secular school. They'll learn like evolution
Yeah.
is a thing. Like,
Yeah. And for
so
these
they
kids,
made the
they're going to
education
school.
fit
Yeah.
so they could send their kids to school and get that indoctrination in them, and then the rest of us are like, wait, hold on, wait, no, I don't want that.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, it's wild. But no, on that subject though, I had a friend who worked at a notable university in the area, and she
Mhm.
said the administration just got taken over. Literally, it was like a hostile takeover from just a certain elected officials or something on a board, or I forget exactly how it worked, but it just kind of trickled down over a few years, from COVID on. And she said it got to the point where she couldn't do her job anymore, and so she left and went to
Oh,
work
I
at
mean,
a
like
university
Sarasota
in
County was a
Washington.
whole
Yeah.
thing with Moms for Liberty and all that shit that went down.
Oh yeah, the Moms for Liberty. Oh my goodness, yeah.
It was a whole scandal. It was a whole thing.
Yeah, they're
The Board of
I have a
Education.
lot of words about them, and I'm not
Yeah,
going to say
I
any
do
of them
too,
right
and
now.
they're not pleasant. But you can watch me on nonprofits talk about Moms for Liberty.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm going to plug.
Wait, were we on the nonprofits together? I'm trying to remember.
No, I think were we?
Maybe I was just on crew for a nonprofits episode.
You were on crew for nonprofits.
That was probably it. Because I've been on nonprofits. I was just trying to remember if I was ever on the same time you were.
No, but I think and then you took a break, and then
yeah. I only did it for a few months, maybe 2 or 3 at the most.
I think because I think we met through the ACA, and then you left, and then that's how we became friends.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. We just kept in touch.
Yeah, we just kept in touch, and it was just great. But it's one though, like, and if you're, I understand it's hard right now. I do. It's hard. Like I get it. I do. But you have to take care of your mental health. You do. You have to, because all the stuff we're talking about is going to drive you fucking crazy. And you need to be able to take a step back and just like live your life.
Yeah.
And if you need to unplug for like a few months, unplug for a few months. It's fine. It's not like things are gonna, like, it's not gonna be there when you get back.
Right. Exactly.
Or if you need to leave altogether, that's fine too.
Yeah. Reminding ourselves that as much as we want to be aware, you can be too aware of what's going on. And to the point where you're, doing yourself a detriment, like you were saying.
There's a thing about like, like doom scrolling is not good for your mental health. It's just not. Like I after the election, I didn't look at any news for 2 weeks. 0. Because I was like, I just can't. I can't, and like my roommate was keeping up with it, so they were kind of like trickling in and let me know what's going on. But for the most part, I didn't look at my usual people I follow for news. I I wasn't watching anything. I was just like, I need to take a couple weeks and just take care of my mental health, because it's going to be 4 years of me screaming into a pillow about
No,
how.
like literally. Wait, is it a
So,
pillow?
yeah, I know. My screaming in my pillow. Listen. Michael Lindell has not been very involved lately, and I kind of miss it.
Him. Yeah, I miss him. He just added a certain crazy spice into the smorgasbord.
He's a special boy. He's a
He's
very
a
special boy.
Very special boy.
Like,
Think of a
wow.
better way to describe him.
I wonder if like OAN and other people were like, this guy is just a little too crazy.
Oh no, they used him for the effect. You know, they just wound him up, put him on, let him go for 5 minutes, and reeled him back in and took him off air. You know.
Because like, you listen to this guy for 5 minutes, I'm like, people think he's telling the truth. Like, really? Like,
people think he's sane. Like, really? Oh my goodness! Wow. Yeah, he's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of them that are a lot. He's one of the leaders of the people who are a lot.
Yeah, like, and it's one of those things that I like. I have to laugh at the darkness. Like this, like those type of people. I just like. I'm like. Some of these people are so insane. Yeah. They're on a totally different planet than I'm on, and I have to laugh at it to keep myself sane. Because you have to, because if you listen to them for 2 minutes, you're like, this guy. I'm like, this guy makes no sense. And they have power, which is disturbing. Just look at RFK Jr. He's a very special boy. But I found out that he was making $20,000 a week for some anti-vax company that peddles a lot of these conspiracy theories. I can't remember the name of it right now. I was listening to somebody that did a deep dive into him, and I was just like, that makes sense. Like if you're getting $20,000 a week. Yeah, you're making some sweet bucks, man.
Yeah.
He's been promoting the anti-vax stuff for over 20 years. So,
Nonprofit Children's Health Defense.
Nonprofit Children's Health Defense.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
What Brown says. That's what I'm calling Matthew from now on.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. Look up shit for me.
Yeah. Right? No, I mean, I could do a show where it's just me talking, and then I could be like, hey, what is it? Oh, okay, it's this.
He give me the Jamie to Joe Rogan.
Do you want to do that? It'd be fun. I've always joked about, not even joked. I've always talked about doing a show of my own and never made steps to do that. Other than
you should, you should just pick a night a week, just talk for 2 hours and whatever you want to talk about. There's plenty of people that come around I would watch your show.
Yeah. Thank you, Miss Sequitur. I am also a huge fan of Matthew the husband.
We all like Matthew.
Yeah, he's wonderful. Changed my life.
You've just been so happy since you've been with him. Yes, you're wonderful, Matthew. You're a wonderful person.
He's great. Here, wait, babe, do that again.
Wait, what?
Do that again.
Hello. I don't want to disturb Dusty. She's on my lap.
Hold on, wait a minute.
There he is.
That worked. Okay, never mind. I don't know what I'm doing.
No, you're okay. I'm just resizing in my OBS. All right, good enough. I don't want to fix it all the way. Sorry, there's a little border on the sides. No, I was gonna say actually we're coming up on the 2 hour mark, and unfortunately,
so
here.
I'll have you on again. So tell all the people what you're doing and where they can find you if you want.
Oh, you can't find me anywhere. I'm sorry.
He has no socials.
Yeah, I closed down all of my public facing socials when Trump won. And that will probably be amended in the future, but I'm not sure how. It's just not currently. Okay, wait, you can find me on BlueSky. Let me find my BlueSky handle real quick. And I don't really use it, but I will if other people do.
I just use it to promote my show. That's
Yeah,
the
I
only,
know
'cause
that's self-sabotaging to say that.
I'm like, listen, I know that I am just not a commenter. Like, I use my TikTok for the exact same thing. I don't make videos. I just post stuff so people will follow me and let me know so they know what's going on, because I just don't care.
Yeah. So I am at extra shot, please. I'll put it in chat. That's EXTRASHOTPLEASE. And that's a reference to espresso. It used to either be a reference to espresso or alcohol, but now it's just espresso. And it's apparently not a reference to vaccines, Matthew would like to say as well.
Oh, okay, good.
I'll take the standard number of vaccines, no extras, please.
Just the standard.
Just the standard number, yes. As prescribed by a medical professional.
Right.
One who does not subscribe to RFK Jr.'s politics, which I'm sure there's a couple, but not that many. And most doctors are in pretty strong agreement on vaccines. It's not.
Yeah,
really,
nobody's saying and I just want to say that I don't like the rhetoric about autism is bad. Autism is just a different brain. And I don't appreciate this sort of idea, because as someone that's neurodivergent, I have ADHD, but you don't hear that being disparaged. That's not
do, but not nearly to the same degree. Yeah.
And it's sort of like, it just drives me crazy, because I hate that rhetoric. Because then it makes it sound like, if you have autism, you're less than a human being, and that's gross. And I don't really appreciate that. So fuck RFK. Anyway.
No, seriously though.
Fuck that guy.
So many reasons.
I'm not a nonprofit, so I can say that.
Wait, but let's end on a positive note.
I'm gonna Neil, the 604 atheist, will be here next Thursday. Talk. He inspired my channel, so he's going to talk about
Anyway, sorry.
What?
Neil bought me this webcam when I first got started. He went.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he went out of pocket.
I love him.
I love Neil. Anyway, I'm sorry. Keep talking.
He's also a big Lego nerd. You need to get with Neil and talk about Legos. Yep. Seriously. So he is also a big Lego nerd. So he'll be here next Saturday talking about what he does on his channel on deconversion. And then Brent Lee, the Punk Apostate, will be on next Saturday night talking about the deep rabbit hole that is indoctrination. So we're going to have those two topics coming up next week. So please subscribe, do the things. You can find me on my socials because I don't know. Just do the thing. But I usually do every Thursday, alternate Saturdays when I need my guests need an alternate day. So that's why we're doing this today.
Thank you again for that. I'm so glad that I was able to make it on. Sorry about the little snafu with the timing the first time around, but
listen, this is why I have to keep that spreadsheet and put people in, because Neil DM'd me last week and he's like, "Hey, we still doing the show?" And I was like, "I have Greg tonight." And he goes,
"Oops."
And because I didn't put him into the spreadsheet, and then so it was an empty spot, so I put Greg in there, and then I was like, "You want to come on next Thursday? I have an open spot."
That's too funny. Oh man. Hey, I'm just
glad that
Greg and Neil. Jason says,
so I have everything planned between now and April 17th.
Awesome. Well, I'll take a spot in May probably, or maybe late April. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll find. I'll put you in there.
All right, cool.
You
We'll
can always
circle back
bump Greg.
on that.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna. I wasn't gonna bump Greg. Like,
Yeah, Jason here just talking shit about his boss.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've been working with Greg for 4 years. I'm not gonna bump him.
I love Greg.
Because he
Greg's
was
good
like,
people.
when I started my channel, he's like, I want to start doing more advocacy. I'm like, you want to come on my show?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. So, just go like Martin
On BlueSky.
On BlueSky. That's the only place you'll find him.
I will be in chat next week if you want to catch up with me then. Or I'll do my best to be at least.
Jason, you just have to tell me you want to come on the fucking show and I'll schedule you.
Oh no. You don't understand.
But don't expect me to message you. I just use BlueSky to promote the show. If you want me to like actually communicate with you, it's not
Jason will ignore you until you give him what he wants.
Right, exactly. Just slide into my DMs. That is the best way to contact me, or shoot me an email right here. One or the other.
Perfect. Yeah, right.
So,
there.
Yeah. Oh, there, right here. Yeah. If you want to reach me, do this, and then follow me on the socials. Please share the channel and tell your people how great I am. Yes, and comment. I highly encourage comments, even if they're negative, because that drives the algorithm up. So you know,
please. If you hate us, tell us. Tell us why.
Yeah, someone told me that me and Greg had no idea what we were talking about last week, and I'm like, oh, okay, thanks for the constructive criticism.
I'm just kidding.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, right.
All right, so everybody have a wonderful week. I will see you all on Thursday. I'm on nonprofits this week. So if you're not subscribed to the nonprofits on the Atheist Community of Austin, you should go subscribe there, because I'm on this week with I'm on with Jimmy Jr. and a couple Tracy and Steven, who are new to the ACA. So you should go check us out this week. So do that. And I also do a TikTok every Tuesday night with the ACA live, where I talk to theists and other people what they believe in and why, and I yell at people in a very nice way. So
that's awesome.
That's what I love it. So go do the things. All right, everybody have a wonderful week. I will see you all on the interwebs, and be kind, give someone a compliment, stay skeptical, and that's it. Bye.
Be kind to yourself. Bye.
Bye.